Everyone, welcome into this week's my weekly CBS Fix. I hope you had a wonderful week. This week's video is dedicated to Drew and Talesa. Mazel tov to you upon the birth of your daughter. You should go from one joyous occasion to the next, and also as a refuah shlema for Nechama Bas Chaya Rivka. So in this week's Parshas Bo, we read about the last of the 10 plagues that were brought upon the Egyptians to pay them back for all the evils they had done to the Jewish people. And the Haftarah continues piggybacking off last week's theme from Ezekiel. Jeremiah, Yirmiyah Hanavi also continues in this vein, telling us and repeating the words in a certain sense of Ezekiel that Egypt will forever go lost. Eventually, their entire identity will be lost. The kingdom that once was will be entirely lost. Any other nation that moves in there today or 1,000 years ago is just a whole conglomeration of a whole bunch of other people, completely different nation. So what does Hashem say? Hashem says that the northerner, who was Nevuchadnetzar, who eventually Hashem gave him much power over the entire world, or a big portion of the world, he was eventually going to come. He was going to wipe out Egypt. Egypt would fold like a cheap tent, and they would be knocked off the face of the map. And the verse says as follows. Chapter 46, verse 18, if you want to look it up in the book of Jeremiah. Chai ani, as I live, Hashem says, Nu'um HaMelech. Hashem Tzvakos Shemo, Hashem Tzvakos is his name. Ki Tavor Baharim, like Mount Tavor in the mountains. Uki Karmel Bayam, and like Mount Carmel in the ocean. Yava, he will come, meaning King Nevuchadnezzar will for sure come and he will wipe them out. Now the question is, why do we need this parable of Mount Tavor and Hara Carmel? So the Talmud teaches us that in the future, every single synagogue and every single Torah study hall will eventually be uprooted when Mashiach comes and be brought over to Eretz Yisrael, to the land of Israel. Now, why is that? The Talmud proves it from this verse. Because what happened when Hashem wanted to give the Jewish people the Torah at Mount Sinai, these two mountains also wanted to do it, meaning every single thing in this world, in the physical realm, has a corresponding angel in the spiritual realm, and that those angels wanted that the Torah should be given on them. And the angels were ready to go ahead and transport these two mountains, but Hashem said, no, Mount Sinai, I wanted to go on Mount Sinai. But later, both Tavor and Carmel were eventually transported to Israel, and Hashem's unity was proclaimed on Mount Carmel and on Tavor. Also, the prophetess Tavor, she had a wonderful victory over there. And so those both brought a wonderful sanctification of Hashem's name on their mountains. But we see from over here that these two mountains, just for wanting to be in Israel, and in order to bring Hashem's glory, they were eventually transported and brought to Israel. So too the study halls, because just because they wanted to have the Torah brought on them, because they wanted to have the Torah brought on them, they were worthy to actually eventually be transported there. So too synagogues and Torah study halls were constantly. That's what's going on over there, that we're constantly serving Hashem. Those two for sure will eventually merit to be brought over to the land of Israel. And of course, this means us. This means ourselves. It means we're seeing from here that maybe all we have to do is we have to want. Maybe we have to want to be that vehicle, that vessel that brings out a glorification of Hashem's name. And maybe we want to have that share and to have that portion. And maybe if we do that, maybe we will eventually merit when we go to dance in front of Mashiach. You know, what's wonderful about learning about all these Haftaras, the theme is the eventual coming of Mashiach and how exciting a time it will be. And who knows, sometimes we just have to share in that want and that desire that we should be a part of that. And if we do that, we certainly, hopefully, will be merit to see that speedily in our days. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos.